Hi students, welcome to Alphos e-learning chemistry classes for second year. The running chapter is electrochemistry and now we are in session number 11. In previous session I provided you some numerical to solve. I hope you solved it and waiting for the hint or solution. Here, in this session first let us discuss for the solutions of those numericals. Clear? And I think all of you may solve the first question because it is easy, where just they provide the conductance of ionic conductance of bivalent electrolytes. Bivalent electrolyte cation and anion conductances are given, and here it is for cation 53 ohm inverse mole inverse ohm inverse mole inverse centimeter square, and for anion it is given as 57 here, and it is 73 ohm inverse mole inverse centimeter square. Now they are asking for the conductance of molar conductance of the electrolyte. Simple formula, direct application. It is lambda naught or lambda infinite of the electrolyte is nothing but the sum of conductances of these two, lambda naught plus lambda naught minus, that is simply 57 plus 73. You will get the answer. Clear? It is solution for first problem. And now coming to the second model, here they are asking to calculate the conductance of the acetic acid from the data provided. Here the logic of the question is not, it is application of Kohlrausch law, no doubt at all, but the logic is they are providing an extra information for you, that is which is not required for solving the problem. Clear? And here they are testing your mind whether you are using all the data provided for calculation or whether you are selecting the appropriate and the required data. That is the mode of the question. Clear? Even though so many students are having the practice, they try to get the formula by using all these. They are always, it is time waste program, directly we can go. Now let us solve this question. Here what they are asking, first we have to consider, they are asking for lambda naught acetic acid. And now as per Kohlrausch law, what is lambda naught acetic acid? It is nothing but the sum of conductance of the acetate ion and the conductance of the H plus ion. Is it not? The sum of these two is nothing but the conductance of the acetic acid. And now from the provided data, we have to consider what are the required to get these two. And for that purpose of the given, we can see that one electrolyte is having acetate ion, that is nothing but sodium acetate. So first let us consider the sodium acetate conductance, Na. This is nothing but lambda naught CH3 COO minus plus lambda naught Na plus. We require this. And next one more required is H plus, and where of the given data HCl is having H plus. This is HCl, and in this HCl lambda naught H plus is there and lambda naught Cl minus is there. And now we are getting these two which are required, but in addition to these two we are also having the unnecessary ion conductances, and this is given as sodium acetate ion conductance, ionic conductance is given as 91 ohm inverse mole inverse centimeter square, and for HCl it is given as 426.2 ohm inverse, this is unit, you remember, ohm inverse mole inverse centimeter square. So when these two we require, in addition to these two which are not required for computing this calculation is given. So we have to subtract these two. And is there any data which is of giving these two conductance combinedly? Yes, there is. It is nothing but NaCl if you observe. So this lambda naught NaCl, nothing but lambda naught Na plus and lambda naught Cl minus. These two sum, it is given as 126.5. Now I think you are clear with this one. So by adding these two, we will get the conductance of these two electrolytes where two unnecessary electrolytes are unnecessary ionic conductances are present. Thereby we are subtracting these two. Add these two, and by subtracting this you will get the answer. That is the solution for second model. Are you clear? And now coming to third model. Here somewhat a little bit high standard. That is nothing but some more idea you should create in your mind to get the correct answer or accurate answer from this data. Here what they are asking is, they are asking for the equivalent conductance. Equivalent conductance, that is lambda naught of NH4OH. They are asking for this. And for this equivalent conductance, it is nothing but lambda naught NH4OH as per Kohlraasch law. It is equal to lambda naught NH4 plus, that is nothing but equivalent conductance of NH4, and lambda naught OH minus, equivalent conductance of OH minus. So by sum of these two we will get the equivalent conductance of NH4. And now actually when we are getting the ionic conductances of these two, ionic conductance by Z factor will provide equivalent conductance. In previous sessions we discussed about that. But being these two monovalent, here only plus one, uni positive, uni negative. That's why here Z factor is 1 or charge is 1. That's why the ionic and equivalent conductances are same. And now how to get it from the given data? Let us go for this. It is given molar conductance of BaOH twice is given, and where we are assuming this is Ba plus 2, and it is nothing but 2 into lambda naught OH minus, because as per Kohlraasch law the conductance of any electrolyte is nothing but the sum of the conductances of all the ions. You remember here in BaOH twice, barium hydroxide, one ion Ba plus 2 present and 2 moles of 2 OH minus ions present. So we have to consider the conductance of all these three, and now it is given as 228.8 ohm inverse mole inverse centimeter square. Clear? And now coming to next one, Ba. Cl2 is also given. Here what we are, from this electrolyte, the ions that are responsible for conductance are again Ba plus 2, and here also 2 moles of chloride ions are present in that one molecule and 1 mole of the electrolyte, and thereby we are taking 2. Clear? Are you following these two? 2 ions of OH present, so we have to consider both these 2 ions. Here 2 ions of chloride present, we have to consider both the 2 that is chloride ion conductance. And now it is given as 120.1 ohm inverse mole inverse centimeter inverse. And now one more data. Actually what we require is this one. Clear? And thereby lambda naught NH4 Cl, where it is the conductance of NH4 plus and conductance of Cl minus, and it is 129.8. But what they are asking, actually what we require only one NH4, that is nothing but lambda naught NH4 plus we require, and in addition to that, to get this OH we require lambda naught OH minus. But actually these two are present in different, so let us give for easy understanding, it is 1 and it is 2 and it is 3 equation, and we are having these 2 ions in 1 and 3, so we have to add these two. We have to add these two. So we have to add 1 plus 2, and here in the required, in these two when we are considering barium is unnecessary ion and chloride ion is also unnecessary ion. So these two should not present, and thereby we have to subtract this one. Clear? Okay, we are trying to subtract that second, but if you observe this barium will be cancelled, but chloride, here one chloride present, here two chlorides present, so it is not possible to cancel this one chloride with two chlorides. For that purpose, what we have to do is, first you make this twice the total, and thereby you will get 2NH4 plus and 2 chloride ion conductances. This value should also be multiplied. So now you are getting 2NH4 plus and 2 chloride ions, which are supposed to be cancelled with this one, and from this, after barium is cancelled, here also we are getting 2 OH minus ions conductance. Are you clear? That means when we are subtracting this from 1, we have to take 1 plus 2 into 3, then subtract altogether. Let me give that. Here it is nothing but 228.8 plus 2 into 129.8 minus 120.1, whatever the value you are getting. Say for example, if you are getting X, now it is nothing but for 2 moles of these two, and now actually the ionic equivalent conductance require only 1 mole. So here the conductance, equivalent conductance of that NH4OH is nothing but that X, what we are getting here is X by 2. Just you solve that numerical number part. Clear? This is, again I am repeating, in this model, when we are getting the required ions in cancellation, if the number of ions to be cancelled is not equal, you can multiply that equation, particular equation, so as to get cancellation. That is the logic. They are, in this model of question, they are testing like that, whether you are able to cancel. And when you are cancelling, you remember, not only you should not multiply only the ion which is to be cancelled, you have to multiply the total, that is including the conductance, you have to multiply with that suitable number. Here it requires 2, that's why with 2. In case if it requires 3, you have to multiply with 3, like that. Clear? You solve this one and you ascertain the answer. And the next one is model number 4. In that model, it is new and it is simple one. It is for competitive examination, which is of time limited question, and that's why it is, because in your competitive examination you have to solve the question within the stipulated time in a speed manner, and it is logic and it requires your attention to solve this. What they are providing here is lambda naught m of, that is nothing but, you know, it is molar conductance of NaCl is given, that is lambda naught m NaCl is given, which is nothing but lambda naught Na plus lambda naught Cl minus, as per Arrhenius equation, as per Kohlrausch equation. Clear? And now in another one is given, that is lambda naught m KCl, that is molar conductance of KCl is given, it is lambda naught K plus lambda naught Cl minus. These two values are given, and for NaCl it is 126.5 ohm inverse mole inverse centimeter square, and for this it is given as 149.9 ohm inverse mole inverse centimeter inverse. Now by providing lambda naught Na plus, lambda naught Na plus is given as 50.1, they are asking for lambda naught K plus. Till now we solve all the problems when two different electrolyte conductances are given and asked for a third electrolyte. We are able to solve by using this Kohlrausch law. But here they are providing two different electrolyte conductances, and by providing one of the ion among these two electrolytes, they are asking for the second cation conductance, a different model, and how to solve it. Just you remember, in this case, if you observe, we are applying the same Kohlrausch law in a different manner. In this case, both these two are having the common anion, that is chloride ion. So with this common anion, when the electrolytes are having these conductances, just you observe, if we are subtracting this equation 2 from subtracting equation 1 from equation 2, that is, it is lambda naught KCl minus lambda naught NaCl. What we are getting, just you observe, in this KCl minus NaCl, this Cl will be cancelled by this. So that means lambda naught KCl minus lambda naught NaCl is equal to lambda naught K plus minus lambda naught Na plus. Just you observe, this is the key point. So again I am repeating the statement related to this model. When two different electrolytes are having the same cations with the same type of anions, then the difference between the conductances of the molar conductances of the two electrolytes is equal to the difference in the conductances of the cations. So just now, I think now you know how to solve this. It is nothing but how to get this by substituting the values. We are 149.9 minus 126.5 is equal to lambda naught plus K plus minus lambda naught Na plus. And now on this rearrangement of this 149.9 and 126.5 minus, it is 4, and now we are getting 3 and it is 2, so 23.4. From this we can, the 23.4 is equal to lambda naught K plus lambda naught Na plus. And now to get that lambda naught K plus is equal to 23.4 plus lambda naught Na plus. But this is given, it is already provided. So substitute that value as K plus is equal to 23.4 plus, what is the value given for that? 50.1. You will get the answer. Clear? And again here you are observing a different application of Kohlrausch law, where when the two electrolyte conductances are given, by providing one of the electrolyte cation conductance, they are asking the conductance, the molar conductance of the other electrolyte cation. In such a case, we are applying the Kohlrausch law in this manner, where the difference in the molar conductances of the two electrolytes which are having a common anion is equal to the difference in the conductances of the two cations present in those two respective electrolytes. Clear? And with that one we are solving this question. Clear? And now you try to solve some other questions from your books on this model, and you remember in here, even though we are on discussion, we are taking much time to explain all these things. After getting the concept in a correct manner, you should be in a position to solve the questions in a speed manner, you remember, because it is time testing. Within this stipulated time you have to solve so many questions. That's why you practice it in speed. Now just let us move the concept in this 11th session. That is nothing but, after knowing what is Kohlrausch law and how it is useful in calculating the conductances of different electrolytes from the conductances provided, we have to go for the applications, that is applications of Kohlrausch law. Applications of Kohlrausch law. And now first let us list out the fields where we can apply this Kohlrausch law. This Kohlrausch law is applicable, as we see till now we are considering only the electrolyte like that. We are not giving the whether it is weak electrolyte or strong electrolyte. Just in the beginning of this Kohlrausch law discussion in the previous episode, we considered that it is useful to calculate the conductance of the weak electrolyte at infinite dilution, which is not practically possible. But thereafter, when we are solving the question or when we are discussing, we never use that word infinite, that is nothing but weak electrolyte, strong electrolyte, like that. But here, the first application, it is nothing but in measuring infinite, or it is conductance at zero concentration, or it is also known as limiting conductance. In measuring the limiting conductance or conductance at infinite dilution of weak electrolytes. Weak electrolytes. Here we can find one of the application of the Kohlrausch law. And now, second one is in measuring transport number. The transport number, or it is also it has been proposed by Hittorf, and thereby it is also known as Hittorf's number T. And then third one is in measuring the degree of dissociation. In measuring the degree of dissociation of weak electrolyte, that is nothing but alpha. And fourth one, in measuring the ionic mobility. Ionic mobility, if you recollect, this ionic mobility has been used, already it is used. In finding the ionic conductance, we are using this ionic mobility. Ionic mobility into Faraday or 96,500 is nothing but conductance of the ion. And next, it is our finding its application in finding the solubility of sparingly soluble salts. Sparingly soluble salts. Solubility of sparingly soluble salt. And the last one and very important and interesting one is nothing but in measuring the ionic product of water, ionic product of Kw of water. Already we know in previous, that is in our junior inter or 11th class, you are finding some discussion about this ionic product Kw, and that Kw value at room temperature is fixed. If you recollect, that Kw is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 14. It is only temperature dependent. And now here we are having the chance to prove that at room temperature how it is 10 to the power of minus 14. These are the discussions in coming sessions we have to do. And in this session, let us complete these two simply. Clear? And now let me give that thing. When Kohlrausch law is applicable for all types of electrolytes, why we are discussing separately for it is applicable or it is useful in measuring the conductances of the weak electrolyte as a separate head or separate heading. Simply it is nothing but in case of, we believe that in case of weak electrolytes, practically we can't measure. In case of weak electrolyte, practically we can't measure lambda infinite or lambda naught or mu infinite or mu naught or lambda infinite or lambda naught. This is nothing but the limiting conductance. Limiting conductance, or it is also known as conductance at infinite dilution. Conductance at infinite dilution. We believe that in case of weak electrolyte there is no that is nothing but practical. there is no practical to conduct to measure this conductance of the weak electrolyte. Clear? So one of the best example is Ansager equation. If we consider that Ansager equation is useful only in case of strong electrolytes, it totally failed in case of weak electrolyte, and then onwards we are discussing about that Kohlrausch law. And now that Kohlrausch law, actually we are discussing about Kohlrausch law to apply that for the weak electrolytes, and before applying that to weak electrolytes we have much discussion in the previous sessions. And now when Kohlrausch law is considering that lambda infinite, here you remember again I am making you to recollect, lambda is ionic conductance. Actually in our discussions, we are in the previous discussion, we are considering that it is actually small lambda is a symbol for equivalent conductance, but in general word when ionic conductance we are frequently using this. Clear? At infinite dilution for an electrolyte AB is having A plus and B minus, that is anion and cation. So as per Kohlrausch law, lambda infinite is nothing but lambda plus lambda naught plus lambda naught minus, that is lambda infinite of AB is equal to lambda naught A plus lambda naught B minus. This is applicable for this. And now the question is, and why we are having a special discussion, it is applicable for in case of weak electrolytes? Because in Kohlrausch law he considered that for any electrolyte, the conductance is nothing but the conductance of the electrolyte is nothing but the sum of the conductances of the ions that present in the electrolyte. Clear? And now when it is considering the sum of the conductances of the ions, what are the factors that influence the ionic conductance? And you remember that ionic conductance will be influenced only by two factors. One is dilution and the other one is temperature. But here dilution factor is not in operation because we are considering infinite dilution. Infinite dilution means now this ion is free from all attractions, all this like that. Clear? And next, when dilution, that is concentration is not the parameter to consider the conductance. Next what? It is temperature. It is temperature. And if we are fixing this temperature, say for example at room temperature 25 degrees centigrade, if we fix the temperature as per Kohlrausch, he considered that the conductance, that is ionic conductance of the ion at infinite dilution at a given temperature is always constant irrespective of the nature or the strength of the parent electrolyte. Say for example, if we are considering H plus conductance at infinite dilution, that is lambda naught H plus, and now this lambda naught H plus, that is H plus ion, we can get either from HCl, a strong electrolyte, H2SO4 also a strong electrolyte, or HNO3, a strong electrolyte, and the same H plus ion we can obtain from HCN, which is a weak electrolyte, or CH3COOH, a weak electrolyte, HCOOH, weak electrolyte. Just you remember, all the organic acids in general are taken as, unless otherwise there is influencing factor in that molecule, they are said to be weak acids, and all these weak acids are weak electrolytes. Clear? And now when it is lambda naught H plus, this lambda naught H plus conductance is fixed at the temperature at infinite dilution irrespective of the strengths of the acids, their parents. It may come from HCl or H2SO4 or HNO3 irrespective of that, or it may come from these different weak acids irrespective of the strengths or natures of these parent electrolytes. Its conductance is fixed. So in such a case, say for example, if we are having we have to measure the weak electrolyte CH3COOH, that is the conductance of weak electrolyte, because it is weak acid, and now it is practically not possible to get 100% dissociation because it is weak, but we can measure it. We can measure this by applying Kohlrausch law. How? As per Kohlrausch, the conductance of this is nothing but conductance of the molar conductance of the state ion plus molar conductance of the H plus ion. These two sum is nothing but the conductance of the weak electrolyte. Clear? Here we are pronouncing that it is the sum of these two for weak electrolyte we are saying, but actually Kohlrausch law considered for any electrolyte the sum is equal to the conductance of the electrolyte. So he is not using that weak or strong, such type of words. And now for our purpose to understanding the concept, we are using that. Clear? When it is weak, we can't find. Now the question is, sir, when these two ions are present in this electrolyte, when it is weak, how we are getting separate ions? That is the logic of the application. Say for example, here we require H plus. We can't get from this because it is weak, but we can get like this. From these strong electrolytes we can get this conductance because they undergo 100% ionization. Clear? So in such a manner, say for example we are getting this from lambda, that is lambda H plus from strong electrolyte HCl. And now, okay, H plus is appeared. Then how to get this acetate ion? We will consider similar to the H plus acetate, whether that acetate ion is coming from weak acid CH3COOH or from a soluble that is highly soluble. Immediately when the salt is dissolved in water, immediately it will dissolve. Highly soluble salt, all highly soluble salts are strong electrolytes, already we know. We can get this from a strong electrolyte which is completely soluble in water, that is nothing but CH3COO Na salt. So for this, the conductance of this, when it is of a strong electrolyte, the conductance is nothing but because of CH3COO minus plus lambda naught Na plus. And when we are getting this from this strong electrolyte, this acetate ion which appears from this strong electrolyte has the conductance at infinite dilution a fixed value. That fixed value we can use here. That fixed value we can use here. And now one more question you may raise. Sir, when these two are present in these respective, say for example, let me write again here. When H plus is present in HCl and acetate ion is present in sodium acetate, how we can make these two separate to come or to calculate for this? Simple logic. We are getting HCl, lambda naught HCl, where lambda naught H plus already we discussed. Same when we are applying for this, again we are discussing this one. And from this sodium acetate we are getting lambda naught acetate ion and lambda naught Na plus. Already we solved one model problem here also. To get these two, we are making these two sum up, but additional unnecessary ions are present. For that purpose, we are subtracting NaCl conductance. We need not, that means we need not find separate ion conductances. Just we can take these two electrolyte conductances. In these two electrolytes, these two not required, and thereby we are subtracting the electrolyte which is present these two ions in it. Like that. Here the same what we discussed in previous session, the same discussion here also, but there we are not using the weak or strong in discussion, but here when we are applying this for weak electrolytes, because we know that for weak electrolytes it is not possible to calculate the conductance at infinite dilution experimentally because it never undergo 100% ionization. In such a case, with the help of some other that is conductors, electrolytic conductors, we are of getting the ions which require the ionic conductances which required for the weak electrolyte. When we are making this weak electrolyte conductance equal to the sum of these two, here just one statement from Kohlrausch law, that is nothing but the sum is equal to the conductance of the electrolyte, whether it is strong or weak. And now how we can apply for weak and strong is nothing but simply he considered that the individual ion conductance is independent of the nature, the strength of the parent electrolyte from which it arrives. That is the key point. Only to discuss that. Again, I am repeating, the individual ions which are present in an electrolyte are having a fixed conductance at infinite dilution at a given temperature. Are you clear? And now, that conductance of the ions are not depending on the nature or the strength of the parent electrolytes from which they arrive. So when they are not depending on their the parent electrolytes, automatically they are maintaining their individuality. And now the individual electrolyte, the ionic conductance sum is nothing but the conductance of the electrolyte what we require, whether it is strong or weak. Clear? That is about the conductance. In finding the conductance of the weak electrolytes from Kohlrausch law. Simply, all these numericals already we solved. Only the difference is the discussion again is by using the word weak. That's all. And now, second application is transport number. You need not worry about this transport number. Just I can make you understand in a simple manner. It has been proposed by Hittorf. That's why it is Hittorf's number. And actually, transport number is nothing but the fraction of current that can be carried by an ion in an electrolyte. And it is nothing but transport number of an ion. If you are considering transport number of an ion, it is nothing but the current carried by ion by total current carried by electrolyte. This is transport number. Simple. If you are studying this, you may recollect one word, mole fraction. What is mole fraction? The number of moles of one component by total number of moles of all the components present in the solution. In a similar manner, an electrolyte, say for example AB is the electrolyte that dissociate into A plus and B minus. That means this electrolyte is providing, let us assume this is a strong electrolyte or stronger immaterial to that, and it is conducting. And now A plus and B minus, they are having their individual conductances, and the sum of these two is nothing but the conductance of the AB electrolyte. And now in case if they ask for transport number of A plus, it is nothing but equal to the conductance of that A plus by the conductance of both these two ions. Clear? And now, in what manner it is related? When Ta plus is nothing but like this, we can write T B minus is nothing but lambda naught B minus by lambda naught A plus plus lambda naught B minus. This is, and you remember, it is similar to that of when we are comparing with that of mole fraction. Similarity. Here also, similar to that x1 plus x2, that is the sum of mole fractions of all the components is equal to 1. Here also, this Ta plus plus Tb minus, that is the cation and anion transport number sum is always equal to 1. Are you clear? The sum of the transport numbers, because the total, when they are individual ions are sharing their fractions, that is some part is by A and some part is B, the total will always come to unity. That unity is nothing but 1. Clear? And now this is transport number. Simply in this transport number, what is the use of Kohlrausch law? It is just this one. If any ion conductance is given, say for example NaCl conductance is given to you, and Na plus conductance is also given to you. And now if they ask for the transport number of Na plus, just you have to go for lambda naught Na plus by lambda naught NaCl. And now when you are taking this lambda naught NaCl here, what you are using? What is lambda naught NaCl? Lambda naught Na plus plus lambda naught Cl minus. that lambda naught Na plus lambda naught Cl minus nothing but the sum of conductances of the ions equal to this electrolyte. There automatically we are using Kohlrausch law. That Kohlrausch law, that simply we can write like this. Transport number C. C is nothing but cation. It is equal to lambda C by lambda infinite, where we can write this as lambda C by lambda A plus lambda C. A is anion and C is cation. And similarly, in case if it is Ta, anion transport number, lambda A by lambda infinite, that is nothing but lambda A by lambda A plus lambda C. Here A and C. Why I am using different terms? Don't get confused. Don't feel that I am making you to confuse, because why I am using these different. Here I am using A plus B minus, and here and there I am using just only the charges, but all of a sudden I am using A, B, because I am making you to involve in the topic, and that too not to make you confused when you are going through different textbooks. They may provide that information like this, or they may provide the information like this. Then you should not get confused. That means for the same term there are different symbol, that is representation. So many representations are there. So when you are thorough with all different types of representation for the same data, when you are solving the numericals, in what representation they are giving the data, immaterial to that, immediately you can get the idea to compute the problem. That's why I am using this all. Just you have to concentrate whether we are using it Ta anion or T minus, negative is anion, it is Tc or cation, C is cation, or it is nothing but T plus. And in case if any ion already exists, that ions are given with their representation. Clear? Like that the transport number we can measure. Clear? And in the next coming session we will discuss about the degree of dissociation of the weak electrolyte, and to find the solubility of sparingly soluble salt. Similar to that of this weak electrolyte conductance measuring is not practically possible. There also actually sparingly soluble salts which are not soluble 100% in the electrolyte, that is in a solvent, but practically. But we can measure, imaginarily we can measure the volume where that can be dissolved 100%. There also we are using Kohlrausch law, and how it is happening, let us discuss in the next session. Okay.